As the 49ers search for a new general manager and head coach continues, we've got national insider Ian Rapoport with us. Ian, appreciate your time. Let's dive right into this search. And we know the names who have been interviewed. We also know who's left on the docket in the coming week. But what we haven't heard much of is how these interviews have gone. And so what are you hearing from these candidates and their perception of the jobs they're interviewing for?
Well, first of all, everyone seems to feel pretty positive about how their interview went. So it sounds like the process, at least the question and answer period, the feel of the room, sounds like that's all good. And really, that's not something that's not just limited to the 49ers. That's a general consensus from a lot of these candidates because, you know, really this year, and it's not always the case, but there are a lot to like about these jobs that are open now. So it certainly seems like the candidates feel good about it. And, you know, with the Niners, they have the added situation of having the general manager job opening as well. It's the only one right now that is open and maybe the only one that does open. So there really does seem to be a positive feel from the room, you know, from the back and forth. And, you know, I know with the 49ers, one thing that has certainly interested a lot of the candidates is just the ability to start new. I know this probably doesn't please fans that they need a lot of talent, but it's the reality. There's some young talent, but as far as proven, obviously they need to restock the roster a little bit. And that's something for a lot of these candidates, they really like that because rarely do you get to come in and just make your imprint on things. And that's the opportunity that would be presented.
In regards to the GM position and that clean slate you alluded to, how appealing is it? Is the cap space, the number 2 overall pick, the roster flexibility? Is that something that the 49ers are selling hard? And then how appealing is that for potential candidates?
Very, very appealing. You know, I've heard that from several people. Just in the fact that you come in and you have all the tools. There's certainly some young talent, and actually the last 2 drafts, there's some stuff to like there. Certainly on the defensive side of the ball there is. And then you have endless cap space. You have a lot of draft capital. I mean, the number 2 pick it's either a great pick, it's a great opportunity, or it's something you turn into a lot of picks in the future. So just the ability to come in and start right away with getting the kind of players you want in there is something that is very, very attractive.
Jed York spent so much time talking about the marriage between these 2 positions and how they have to either have worked together and have a history or at least share that mutual respect and football philosophy. And so with that, is it possible that during these interviews, they're saying, hey, give me a list of 3 to 5 names who you'd like to work with, whether you're the GM looking for a head coach or a head coach looking for someone who you could work with as general manager?
Yeah, it sounds like that's sort of what's happening. You know, as it was explained to me, it was candidates are being asked to discuss the relationship they may or may not have with some of the other candidates. So coaches would be asked about executives would be asked about coaches. And I can't say that I've really seen this approach before, but I really like it because so much of this success, I mean, you know, you can go down the list of teams that are in the playoffs right now. There is always a coach-GM cohesion, and obviously with the 49ers, I think it's pretty clear to say, it was not always the case in the past. Making that the focus is kind of like a fresh and to me, pretty interesting approach because you can have a great coach, you can have a great GM with a brilliant eye for talent, and if they're not talking to each other, if they're not working with each other, none of it really matters. And I think that candidates seem to be intrigued with that possibility of saying, you know, it's not like the coach is going to pick the GM, and I don't get the sense the GM is going to pick the coach. It sounds like they're going to sort of pick each other. That's kind of a cool thing.
He's Ian Rapoport. You can follow him on Twitter @RapSheet. You can also catch him on NFL Total Access. A new time, 3 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday on NFL Network. Thanks so much. We appreciate your time and all the insight.